Hello everyone, this is Rohit Singh. Welcome to my channel devopsmela. In this series of lectures, I will be covering an entire SQL database auto deployment using Azure DevOps CI/CD pipeline. So before we proceed with the practical, there are few prerequisites which needs to be installed on your local machine. Like we would need a SQL Server Management Studio for restoring a database or for creating a database. We'll need a Visual Studio for creating a Visual Studio solution package. We would need Git, as I would be using Git repository for pushing the changes on Azure DevOps, and we would need a Azure DevOps access. So we'll have a simple workflow wherein I'll download a adventure sample database from Microsoft website. Okay, then we'll restore the database using SSMS. Then using the sample database, I would create a DacPac file. I'll talk more about what exactly is a DacPac file, what are the benefits of using a DacPac file in my later videos. Then we'll create a Visual Studio solution package and we'll import the DacPac file. Then later we'll create a CI/CD pipeline, a build pipeline using Azure DevOps. Yeah, in the later stage, we'll deploy all these changes, the complete database using a DacPac file on Azure Cloud SQL Database Server. Start the practical. So the step one, you have to download the Adventure Sample database from the Microsoft website. So open Google, just type Adventure Sample database, follow the first link, Adventure Works Sample database, and download the backup file from the website directly. Once you have the local copy, open SSMS, just right click on databases, click on restore database, and over here select devices because we have the copy on our local hard drive. Browse to the path where you have the backup file, click on the backup file, click OK. Okay, again click OK. So just make sure your path is right from where you're downloading the restoring the backup. The database name is AdventureWorks 2017. If you want to change your database name, you can change it from here, and I'll just click OK. So I'm restoring AdventureWorks 2017 full database, and it has been done. AdventureWorks database has been restored. So what is a DacPac file and what it contains? A DacPac file is a data tier application component package. It's a Microsoft concept to simplify the development, deployment, and management of data tier elements. In short, a DacPac file contains a metadata information of a database. It contains both the schema of data as well as the data records or objects, which help us to easily transport any database changes from the local machine to the target machine. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a DacPac file using SSMS. Let me open SSMS. Click on the database which we recently restored, the AdventureWorks 2017. Right click, click on tasks, and click on extract data tier application. So we are building a DAC package using this tool. Click next. If you want to change your application name, you can change it. This is the default location where your DAC gets stored. If you want to change the location, you can browse and change the path. I'll click next. This is the DAC properties which we just set. Click next. So my DAC package build is in progress. It's completed. So it takes, depending upon your database size, it takes time. So it hardly took around 4 to 5 seconds for me. I'll click finish. I'll go in that location and show you what exactly we have. So documents, SQL Server Management Studio, DAC packages. Here we go. So this is a DacPac file which we created. It contains the metadata information of our database. So in my next video, I'll be covering how to create a Visual Studio solution package and how to import a DacPac file. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel devopsmela. So in the previous video tutorial, we talked about how to restore a database, how to create a DacPac file. In this video tutorial, I'll be creating a Visual Studio Solution package file and I'll import a DacPac file inside the package. So before we proceed with the practical, let's talk about what is a Visual Studio Solution file. A solution file is a way of organizing project in Visual Studio. The solution maintains the state information of a project in two files, one text-based file and one binary files. Okay, so let's proceed with the practical and let's create a new project in Visual Studio. So I'm using Visual Studio 2015 for creating a new project. So I'll click on create new project. This is a SQL Server database project which I'm using. It's already highlighted. I'll click next. I'll give a good name. So I'll name it as Adventure DB. Won't change the default location. I'll keep it the same location. I'll The solution name is also Adventure DB. I'll place the solution and project in the same directory. Okay, so let's create. So the creation hardly takes 10 to 20 seconds. Here we go. So the project is already created. So as of now it's a blank project, we don't have anything. So let's import a DacPac file. So just right click on Adventure DB, click on import the data tier application DacPac. Click on it, click browse to your location where you have the DacPac file created. So my DacPac file is right over here under SQL Server Management. Open. Rest other options would be default. I'm not making any changes. You guys can make changes based on your requirement. Okay, I'll click start. So if you see at the right hand side, all the tables, all the stored procedure, everything is getting imported inside this new project which we created. So it's already done. Click on finish. Let's go to the location where we have this solution file created. So the solution file was created, the user, source, repos, adventure DB. This is a solution package. So what it has? So the most important file, adventuredb.solution. This is the file which will be using for creating an automated CI/CD pipeline. And this is the important file. And we have all the data structure, database structure, the functions, the stored procedure, tables, which is required for making any deployment in future. Okay, so first come first, let's push all the changes to our remote repository, which is right over here. I'm using Azure repository for this tutorial. You guys can use GitHub, GitLab, anything. Okay, one important disclaimer: if you don't want to spend time creating a DacPac, creating a solution file, or restoring a database, I'll I'll put everything, all the files right in this repository, and I'll make it public. Those The link would be in my description. You can directly go ahead and download or clone the copies for yourself, and you can directly work on the CI/CD part. Okay, so in my next lecture, I'll talk about how to create a CI pipeline, how to make changes to your DacPac file, and how to auto deploy those changes remotely. Right? Till then, see you. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel devopsmela. In this tutorial, I'll be creating a CI pipeline using Azure DevOps. So in my previous lecture, I have covered how to create a Visual Studio solution package and how to import a DacPac file. Okay, so we post all our changes, all our previous changes, the solution file and the database objects on my Azure Git. Okay, using this repository, I would be creating a CI pipeline, that's continuous integration pipeline, which would be later automated. So whenever there's a change to the solution file and the change is pushed to the remote repository, this particular pipeline will auto trigger. Okay, so let's create a new pipeline altogether. So over here I'll be using a classic editor. So let's click on classic editor. I'm using Azure Repos Git. You guys can use GitHub, GitHub Enterprise, and other Git or Bitbucket, depend. So this is my project name, adventure underscore DB, pointing to my master repository. Okay, so this is a .NET build. So I'll select .NET, apply. Okay, so the pipeline name is adventure.net desktop CI. So I'll change it to adventure underscore DB. That's my pipeline name. Agent pool, I would be using Azure Pipelines. Agent specification, Windows 2016 is good. Parameters, auto by default it has selected the solution path. Source, we are using Adventure DB. Master, Azure Repos Git. Okay, so my task. Let's talk about the task. My first task is agent job name number 1. I'll keep it default. Inherit from pipeline. I'll keep all these options default. Timeout 0, job cancellation 0. I won't make any changes to it. This NuGet. This is a package, Microsoft open source package manager, which is not required for our tutorial. Same NuGet restore is not required. So we'll be using a Visual Studio build. Okay, so I've unlinked this. I'll select my solution file. This is a solution file which we have created in a previous lecture. Visual Studio version, I'll keep it latest. These are all MS build platforms and configuration, which will keep it default. In advance, if you see, we are using a legacy MS build x86. So we are using MS build for creating a build, a CI build. Okay, rest other options I'll keep it default. I won't make any changes to it. Run this task only when all previous tasks have succeeded, so that is good. VS test, I'm not doing any functional or unit test, so I'll remove this option. Publish symbol path, even I'm not using this. Copy files, so once the build is created, copying the files from Azure Azure server to a drop location. This is used. So these are the parameters: copying files from build artifact staging directory, source folder. At this particular parameter, the files will be kept. This is, sorry, that's the source folder from where the files would be copied, and this is the target folder. Okay, I'm not making any changes. I'll keep it default. You guys can change as per your requirement. Okay, so in the last step, publish artifacts. So whatever the build, when a build is created, a new DacPac file would be created. So we are storing that DacPac file under a drop folder name. Okay, rest other parameters would be default. We can even change the location to a file share location if we have any. If you have a file share server, you can change the location and you can select your file share server path where you want to save all your drop, where you want to drop all your new DacPac file, which will be created using this CI pipeline. If you want to set any pipeline variables, you can set it directly from here. We have few variables set, like the build configuration, which we just saw. The values are release, build platform, any CPU, and other information. We have a variable groups as well, which we can define. The important, we have triggers. So if you click on enable continuous integration, as I talked about, if there's any change to your local solution file, and if you do a push, this particular pipeline will auto trigger. Okay, so it's pointing to your master repository. As if now for this tutorial I have only one branch, that is master. If you want to schedule, so it's like a cron job. If you want to schedule a task at some particular location, you can click on add a schedule timer for your pipeline. After build completion, if you want to make any further changes, like if you want to trigger any other build or something like that, even that is possible once this build is completed. Options, there are build properties which you can set. You can link your new work in this build. You can, these are the URLs, which is when you will place it on your Git, you get a status update whether your build has failed, succeeded. Okay, so there are few default parameters: build job timeout in 60 minutes, build job cancellation timeout in 5 minutes. You can customize this parameter based on your requirement. Retention, like if you want to set a retention policy, how long you want to keep this build, those information can be set from here. I'll show you. So as of now, days to keep artifacts is 30, days to keep run 30, days to keep pull request 30, number of weeks and runs retained per pipeline is 3. You can make changes based on your requirement. What's your policies? You can set the policy. I'm not making any changes. I'm keeping it default as of now. History, if I do any changes to this pipeline, the history would be set. So right now I've added this pipeline, so it's been set under my name, Rohit Kumar. Okay, so let's go back to the task. Right, let's remove NuGet, which is not needed for this particular tutorial. Visual Studio Build is required. I'll remove vtest2. I'll remove the publish symbol path. Okay, so it's done. I'll save it. Let's go in pipeline. Okay, this is the pipeline which we have just created, Adventure DB. Let's run the pipeline. So even this, if this is an automated process, only for this tutorial I'm manually running this pipeline. Okay, so Azure Pipeline Agent Pool is Azure Pipeline Agent Specification. We're using Visual Studio 2017 Win 2016 branch master. I'll click run. So one pipeline is currently running. So this pipeline, because I'm running this pipeline for the first time, it will take around 1 or 2 minutes depending. So let's wait for the pipeline to get completed. So currently it's in build solution. There's a build process going on right now. You can check the logs by clicking on agent pool, get the detailed information about your pipeline, what's happening with the pipeline. Okay, if you click on the pipeline, Adventure DB is currently running. Just click over here on the running icon, click on this icon, you'll able to see the logs. So our build was completed successfully. If you click on this artifacts under drop, bin, release, here we go. A new DacPac file is created. If you just highlight and click on it, your DacPac file would be downloaded locally. Okay. In my next tutorial, I'll be creating a SQL database on Azure Cloud, and using a CD pipeline, I'll be deploying a DacPac file on Azure Cloud. Okay. Thank you. Hey, hi everyone, welcome to my channel devopsmela. So in this series of lectures, we have already covered how to create a DacPac file, how to create a Visual Studio Solution package, and using that, how to create a build using a CI pipeline. In this last video, I would be focusing more on how to create a release pipeline and how to deploy all our changes onto an Azure SQL database server. So let's move on. The first part is the Azure SQL database server. So I've already created a SQL database on Azure Cloud. This is my database name, Adventure DB. Okay. So in this, I would be focusing more on release pipeline. So I would walk through how to create a SQL database server on the Azure Cloud. If needed, in future, I'll come up with a separate tutorial wherein I'll be creating a SQL database on Azure Cloud. Okay. So let's focus more on the release pipeline. Okay. So I'll be creating a new release pipeline for. Okay. So just click on release pipeline and select an empty template for now. I'll name it as devdb. Okay. I'll add the artifact. This is the build which we created in my previous lecture. So I would be using the same DacPac file over here. So this was the source, and this is the default version. I'm taking the latest version for this deployment. If you guys cannot relate like what exactly we are doing, please check my previous videos for this. So we have added the artifacts which we have created by the previous build. I'll add jobs. So in the agent job, we'll stick with the default option. This is the agent. If you want to change the display name, you can change it from there. I'm using Azure Pipeline as an agent pool. This is the agent specification, Windows 2016, Visual Studio 2017, which I'm using right now. This is the artifact what we just added. Okay. So let's add a task for this release pipeline. So our task is to deploy a DacPac file. So I'll select SQL deployment, and we are targeting Azure SQL database server. So I'll select Azure SQL database deployment. The display name Azure SQL DacPac task, I'll keep it same. If you want to change it, you can do it. I'll select my subscription. So I've created a free trial subscription on Azure Cloud. So you can do it. It comes with 30 days free trial subscription. I'm selecting SQL Server authentication mechanism over here for connecting to my database. The Azure SQL Server. So I'll go back on Azure Cloud. This is the server name where I'm deploying the changes. Copy it. Okay. My database name, I'll go back. So this is my database name, AdventureDB. Login. I'll use my login credential. This database won't be available till the time this video would be released, so don't worry about the password. So we are deploying a SQL DacPac file. The action is publishing. We are publishing the SQL DacPac file. I'll give the DacPac file location. So it would be under linked artifacts, AdventureDB1 drop, AdventureWorks 2012 release, and this is the DacPac location. Publish profile, I'll keep it blank. Additional, if you want any additional SQL package to execute, you can put it over here. Firewall, I'll keep it default, auto detect. Control options, you can give control options like if you have multiple tasks, you can select this option like only when all previous tasks have succeeded. So in our case, we have only one task, so this is not needed. Output variables, if you want to refer any output variables, you can define it over here. In variables option, like I'll keep all the default variables. Retention, if you want to retain this release, then these are the default option. Minimum release is 3 days to retain a release is 30. Retain associate artifacts. So these are all setup which would be needed as per your requirements. So I'm keeping it default. And no options right now. If you want integration, I have the report deployment status work. Report deployment status to board. Like if you want to integrate your work items with this pipeline, you can select all this option you want. If you want to integrate your Jira board, you can do it. History. So as of now, I'm the one who is making it's a new pipeline. It won't have any history. So I'll save it this, like whatever changes we did, I'll save those changes. Now there's a new history created. Who did the change? Rohit did the change. The time, the timestamp. Right. So our pipeline is created and it has been integrated with the previous build. Okay. So I'll click on create release. So this is the latest version which we are releasing. I'll click create. Let's go back to release 1. Let's check the logs. So the job is running. Depending upon the database size, it may take time. And as of now, we are using the free tier SQL database. So even the processing would be a bit slow for us because we're just using standard S010 DTU. So as of now, like it's running and it's already took all at 100% DTU. So it's in progress right now. You can see the progress bar. It's 10:31. It's running right now. So let's go back to our pipeline. So let's wait. I'll do one thing in order to I'll just pause the video. I'll come back once the deployment is completed. It may take like around 4 to 5 minutes. So let's wait for that. So the deployment is completed. We have successfully deployed a DacPac file. So it succeeded. Let's go back and check on the SQL Cloud Server. So let's come back on Azure Cloud. Okay, so this is our database. Let's quickly log into this database and using SSMS and see like if the changes are reflecting or not. So this is a server name. I'll use my SSMS. So I've already connected. This is adventure trial database.windows.net. This is the server name. This is a database. Under database we have adventure DB database. So here we go. We got all the tables, all the information right over here. So whatever changes we did, it's reflecting now. So we have successfully deployed a SQL database using a CI/CD pipeline. If you like this video, please like, share and comment. And if you have any queries, please put it in the comment box. I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.